Amsterdam, 1973. A blonde, wiry 26-year-old walks off a training pitch, signs a piece of paper, and boards a plane. On the surface, it's just a transfer, the biggest one football has ever seen. But the man getting off that plane in Barcelona isn't just joining a football club. He's about to hand an entire region something it hadn't felt in over 3 decades. The feeling of being allowed to exist. His name is Johan Cruyff, and this is the story of how a football transfer became one of the strangest acts of quiet defiance in modern sports history. To understand why this mattered, you have to understand the Spain Cruyff was walking into. Since 1939, the country had been ruled by General Francisco Franco, following a brutal civil war. Under his regime, regional identities weren't just discouraged, they were outlawed. The Catalan language was banned in schools in official documents, even in the names parents were allowed to give their children. But there was one place the regime couldn't fully reach: the football stadium. On match days, Camp Nou filled with 100,000 people who could shout, sing, and speak in a language forbidden everywhere else in public life. For 90 minutes, football became the closest thing Catalonia had to free speech. For decades, the gravity of Spanish football had pulled the world's best players toward the capital, not Catalonia. Di Stefano, Puskas. Real Madrid had built a reputation as the club international stars signed for, the one the regime was proudest to present to the world on the European stage. Some historians argue that connection has been exaggerated over the years. Others point to the club's prominence under Franco as more than coincidence. What's not disputed is the pattern on the pitch. For 30 years, almost every marquee transfer in Spain ended in Madrid, not Barcelona. There was even a darker chapter behind that pattern. In 1943, in a Spanish Cup tie against Real Madrid, Barcelona reportedly faced intimidation from regime-linked officials before kickoff, and lost the match 11-1. Whatever the full truth behind that scoreline, in Catalonia it became a symbol, repeated for generations. This is our country, and we know our place in it. So, when the best footballer alive started negotiating his next move in 1973, almost everyone assumed how the story would end. In Amsterdam, Johan Cruyff wasn't the fastest player on the pitch, and he wasn't the strongest. But he saw football differently than anyone before him. Spaces before they opened, passes before the ball was even played. With Ajax, he just won 3 straight European Cups. Every major club on the continent wanted him. Real Madrid wanted him most of all. Cruyff chose Barcelona. He never gave one tidy political reason for it. Publicly, he always said he simply wanted to play for the better club. But the timing and the name on the shirt he picked spoke for itself. He was reportedly drawn to what the club represented beyond trophies, an identity that had been told for over 3 decades that it didn't officially exist. The transfer fee was a world record, but the number that mattered more was smaller and quieter. Registering with the club, Spanish football regulations required foreign players to wear a fixed squad number. Cruyff pushed back until he was allowed to wear 9, a number he'd carry for the rest of his career. And that same year when his son was born, Cruyff named him Jordi, the Catalan form of a name the regime's own laws had effectively erased from public life. No marches, no speeches, just a shirt number and a name on a birth certificate. And somehow, that was louder. On the pitch, the impact came fast. In February 1974, Barcelona travelled to the Bernabeu, Real Madrid's own fortress, and won 5-0. It remains one of the most lopsided results in the fixture's history. Cruyff scored, but it wasn't just the goal people remembered. It was the manner of the win. Total, effortless, almost mocking, that turned a scoreline into folklore. Decades later, Catalans still bring up the 5-0 the way you'd bring up a historical event, not a football score. That season, Barcelona won the league for the first time in 14 years. Cruyff always insisted he wasn't a political figure, that he came to Barcelona to play football, nothing more. And there's no reason to doubt him. But intention and impact aren't always the same thing. For a region that had spent decades being told its language and identity didn't count, watching a foreign superstar choose them over the regime's showcase club and then humble that club on its own pitch said something no speech could have. Franco remained in power for 2 more years. Nothing about the regime officially changed because of a football match, but something in the stadiums had shifted, and it never fully shifted back. Cruyff's story at Camp Nou didn't end when he hung up his boots. Nearly 15 years later, he came back, not with cleats, but with a clipboard. As Barcelona's manager in the late 1980s, he built a team around the same idea he'd played by: possession as control, space as a weapon, the goalkeeper as the first passer rather than the last defender. People called it total football's second act. Barcelona called it the Dream Team, and in 1992 it delivered the club's first ever European Cup. But the trophy was never really the point. The idea underneath it was. And Cruyff didn't just leave that idea behind. He planted it in a Barcelona academy where a slight, unassuming teenager named Pep Guardiola grew up absorbing every principle of it. Decades later, Guardiola's Barcelona, and then his Manchester City, would play a version of football that traces in a direct, unbroken line back to a blonde Dutchman who once got off a plane and decided which side of a divided country he wanted to stand on. He came to play football. He left having redefined what a football club could mean to the people who loved it. Cruyff never called himself a symbol. He just wanted to play for the club he believed in. But sometimes, that's exactly how the biggest statements get made. Not with words, but with a shirt number, a name, and a scoreline nobody forgot. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more moments from football history that turned out to be bigger than the game itself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.